Another visitor. One day, a guard came to our room telling me to get ready because a high-ranking member of the Revolutionary Guard was coming to speak with me. Confused, I asked, "Do you mean to take the prison pajamas off and put my normal clothes on?" "No, no, no," he said. "When he comes, you need to stand and do not interrupt him." Then he left. None of us understood why someone of position was coming to see me. I thought it might be another one of their tricks. I was afraid and nervous. Sometimes I wished to die soon and be released from the emotional torture of wondering when it would happen. But what could we do? Nothing. After an hour or so, a tall young man in guard's uniform came in. We all stood up. He ordered us to sit and be comfortable. "Who is Mr. Shayesteh?" he asked. "That's me, sir," I responded. "How are you?" he asked. "I am waiting on death row, sir, and it is not a good feeling at all," I said. "What do you think about Abolhassan Bani Sadr and where he is now?" the man asked. Dr. Bani Sadr, the first Islamic president after the revolution, was now in exile, and we were political colleagues. In response to his question, I said, "I feel good about him. I know that he is an intellectual man and wants to serve his countrymen. The only thing that I do not like about him is that he was not brave enough to stay in his country." "Do you know that he is Gorbzadeh, or someone who loves Western values at the cost of his own?" he questioned. "No," I answered. "I do not know this." He said, "Yes, he is. We have tried to kill him many times, but because he is protected by the French police, we have been unsuccessful." I said nothing. This is the attitude of committed Muslims. They call a person Gorbzadeh if he or she shows favor even to one value of the West. After a pause, he said to me, "Anyway, I've come here from Tehran to take you to your home today. Take your clothes and be ready to follow me." For a revolutionary Muslim guard, the home of political opposition was hell. So, to me, his words meant that I was going to be killed that day. I gathered my clothes and, looking at the other 4 prisoners, said, "Khoda Hafez," which means, "May God protect you," or "Goodbye" in English. The guard did not ask me to cover my eyes. He opened the door, went out, and I followed him. He took me to a room, told me to sit, and asked, "What bothered you most these past months in prison?" "It was most painful to think that I would die unjustly," I said. He then phoned the revolutionary judge in our town and spoke to him harshly, accusing him of being cruel to me. So many mind games had been played. I assumed this was another. I learned not to believe anything the guard said. I was right. After this phone conversation, he ordered me to a small cell with no light, saying I would have to wait a few hours before going home. I said to myself, if he wants to take me to my family home, why didn't he just let me wait in that office instead of this horrible cell? After a few hours, another guard came and told me to take off the prison pajamas, put on my own clothes, and follow him. He took me back to the same high-ranking guard. He said, "We are going to send you to the prison you have come from. Then we will release you from there." I said, "If you really want to release me, why are you handing me over to those who destroyed my life when you have authority to release me from here?" He said, "Look, we need to help you legally. We know what we are doing. You do not need to worry about this. Go, and God bless you." He ordered the guard who took me from the last cell to take me to my hometown. Within a few hours, I was back in my hometown. On the way back home, I kept thinking, maybe the Revolutionary Guards are trying to manipulate me as they have done to other political prisoners. Maybe they have realized that many people believe in my innocence and have decided to release me so they can kill me in secret and even mourn with people over my dead body, thinking it would persuade others to believe they had not killed me. My mind raced, scenarios playing like a movie. A death like this was far more terrifying to me than death in prison because it could happen in front of my family and would terrify them. We had seen and heard horrible things from the mullahs in Iran. They are experts in inflicting pain to their opposition, and it is a religious joy for them to torture their opposition as much as they can. The driver took me to the prison and handed me over to the same chief who informed me of my death sentence. He opened my documents, looked for a moment, and then said, "You were back again?" He called one of his guards and asked him to take me to a room. It was the guard who was sitting with me on the back of the truck on the way to the second prison, the same guard who wept over my death sentence. He was astonished that I was back. Outside the chief's office, he whispered, "Oh my God, you are back. What is happening, Brother Shayesteh?" "I am not really sure what is going to happen," I responded very quietly. I told him what had taken place and how I came to return to this prison. His face was full of excitement. He opened the door to a bigger room where 13 prisoners sat, mostly young teenagers who were members of the Mujahideen al-Khalq. They rushed forward and said, "Mr. Shayesteh, why did they catch you again? And what is this color on your face?" They did not know that I was not released, but instead being taken to another prison. I explained how I'd been brought back and then asked, "What is wrong with my face?" I had not seen my face for months because we did not have a mirror. They said it looked as though I had lost much weight and my face was yellowish. I explained that in Shayesteh I was in a room with little light. This and the fear of death, I suppose, had drained my face of blood. I was warned to be careful of what I said in the room. There would be spies disguised as prisoners. The area judge and the prison chief were not happy at all that I was back, and they would do every kind of evil in order to trap me again. I learned that a very young prisoner who treated me with respect was a spy. Apparently he showed more respect towards me than the other prisoners, trying to convince me that he was trustworthy. He was convincing as a prisoner, describing how severely he was persecuted and tortured because of his pro-democracy stand. Once he cried and said to me, "What do we need to do? Do we keep quiet and die in prison? Don't we need to send this message to people outside and ask them to do something?" Trying to avoid answering his questions, I replied, "I need to listen to you more and hear the words of your heart." In the meantime, I warned the other prisoners that they were to listen to him but not to answer his questions. I suspected that he may have a recording device. I wanted other witnesses against him in case I faced another trial. One day, the chief guard came into the room with a few other guards to check the room. This boy asked him whether or not he would be permitted to use the restroom. The chief guard allowed him, and one of the guards took him to the restroom. After he was brought back, he immediately came and sat beside me. I was sitting in a corner alone. He said, "We need to do something. You're a great leader. Why are you keeping quiet? We need your guidance against this cruel government." I responded, "Do you really respect and accept my leadership?" "Of course I do," he said. "I am ready to die for you." I slapped his face hard, calling him a liar. He rushed to the door, crying for help. "I've been attacked." A guard opened the door immediately, and he rushed out, saying that he wanted to see the chief guard. The chief guard entered the room moments later with more guards. He asked if I had beaten the boy with the intent to kill him. I said, "I did not want to kill him. I just wanted to slap him." "You know that this will cost you a lot," he said. "I knew that it would cost me," I said. "But I did this in order to prevent the huge burden he's been trying to load on our shoulders." Time and time again, he encouraged prisoners to plan riots and send messages to the people outside to encourage them to riot against the government. We listened to him each time and did not respond, but today his deception increased, trying to provoke a response by saying he was ready to die if I told him to die. I hit him for 2 reasons. First, we will not get involved in his plan to riot against the government. Second, I just wanted to test him in order to see whether he was really honest in saying that he valued me as a leader and was ready to die for me. Every prisoner here knows that he has consistently lied to us. When I finished, the other prisoners confirmed what I had said and asked for the removal of the traitor. Then the chief guard took me out by the door to talk to me privately. He said, "You ought not to beat a prisoner, no matter what he does. You have to call a guard and report to him." "I know that I have acted illegally," I said. "I am ready to pay the cost, and I believe my cost is far less than the cost he aims to cause for the country. All the prisoners know that he is a betrayer of our country, and he must face justice." The chief realized that he and his spies had not outwitted the prisoners. He left the room, and we never saw the young man again. I wondered, what is happening to me? I was told in Shayesteh that I was going home, but I'm still locked up. My temporary release paper was ready, but still unsigned. The revolutionary judge of the area did not want me to be released, but eventually a new judge was appointed and signed the paper, and I was released temporarily. I was told my documents and death sentence were being reviewed. I had to appear in the Revolutionary Court the first day, Saturday, in Iran, of each week to show that I was in the city. I could go nowhere without the court's permission. I even doubted the review as being real or just another scheme. Though it was good to be with my family, the fear that at any moment I could be secretly slaughtered by unknown invaders in the night was terrifying. Family members and many friends were so excited at having me back home from such an ordeal. For days, people from many areas came to visit me and express their happiness and goodwill. However, to some of my closest friends, family members, and my wife, I bluntly told them that this could be a scheme. They were greatly discouraged. I told them that the nature of my release seemed to me strange, and it might result in my death in a very mysterious way. I cautioned them to avoid speaking about this in public. The knowledge of my impending death was ever present without verbalizing it, but fear and concern were written on the faces of those who knew this. Our daughter was growing up and starting to understand things better. "You should not leave me and my mother alone anymore and go again for such a long trip," she would tell me. With sighs, I would respond, "Oh, my beautiful daughter, I'm sorry to leave you alone. I do not want to have a journey like that anymore. and I am asking God to keep me near to you always so that together we can destroy loneliness. I could see the uncertainty in my little child in the first weeks after my release while she was playing with her toys or friends. She was so uncomfortable any time I wished to go out. She wanted to make sure that I was not going to break my promise to her. The fear and anxiety in my family caused me to wish many times that I was not a Muslim and had not gotten involved in the revolution and politics so that my family would not have had to bear such pain. But it was too late. The peaceful life was like a hallucination. The more I got caught up in my thoughts, the more I lost hope for my life. Mind-bothering uncertainties and fear were pushing me into the depths of despair. Fear in the Islamic Republic of Iran was multidimensional and a source of torment in every aspect of our lives. Fear of joblessness, hunger, humiliation, limitless invasions, etc. My wife had been working in the mayor's office. She lost her job. The mayor was extremely pro-mullah and hated me. My wife's fear of the mullahs increased when she lost her job because she was my wife. Many family members lost their jobs because their relatives opposed the mullahs. Inflicting hardship and suffering on family members was a tactic the mullahs used to coerce betrayal. If the mullahs made life unbearable for their opposition's families because of fear, the families would turn over their children, brothers, sisters, fathers, or mothers to be killed by the butchers working for the mullahs.